Okay, so I'm just about to start the final part of the Transmaxxing Manifesto. There's 45 pages. I'm on page 40. So I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna finish reading it. Okay, page 40. Are blood tests needed? Blood tests are not needed if you follow the titration method, which means starting from a no good low dose, the equivalent of 2 milligrams oral E2 for MTF, then increase only by steps of 1 milligram if after 2 to 4 months there are no results. The way you can find out how much you actually need for it to be effective. Yeah, this guy sucks at writing. Our puberty blockers are sometimes used to medically treat precocious puberty in cis people. This, however, very questionable. There is no good medical reason for delaying puberty, cis or trans. It's done for social reasons. It's against Christian moral dogma for young teens to be sexually active, and people having early puberty may also be teased by peers. What the fuck? So, he constantly contradicts his own fucking argument. This guy is such a dipshit. It was only when puberty blockers started to be used to delay puberty in trans people for no good reason that they finally came under scrutiny and results are bad. Okay, so at least he's making some sense here, but not much. If children could get on HRT earlier, there wouldn't be any need to use puberty blockers at all. They don't need to be put on any hormones. Fucking asshole. Instead, we would have the following 3 options. A. Start full HRT before puberty. This has the advantage of allowing the individual to pass better as a female, but the price is very high. The child will become sterilized for life, and SRS will be significantly more difficult since there isn't enough tissue to work with. Yeah, kids should not be put on this bullshit. Nobody should, but adults can do whatever the fuck they want, I guess. But kids should not be allowed to transition. Anybody who wants to transition should be over the age of 18, and they should fund it them fucking selves. Have the child undergo enough male puberty such that sperm can be banked. After that, full HRT is quickly introduced. Have the child undergo puberty and delay HRT. The following study, very poor methodology, does seem to show puberty blockers to be better than C, but even then, it can be strongly argued A or B would have been a far better option. None of these options are good. Do not do HRT at all, especially on kids. It is worth noting that it's very rare for children that started on puberty blockers to desist. Almost without exception, they will proceed with cross-sex hormones, meaning they will be infertile for life unless some medical advancement is made, and then they somehow have biological children. Oh, brother. Fuck. Just have heterosexual sex. If you're male, stay male. If you're female, stay female. If you're male, get with a biological female. If you're female, get with a biological male. And stay that way. Stop with this fucking bullshit. SPAC has, he says, put about 200 children onto hormone blockers at the onset of puberty. Of these, 100% have gone on to take cross-sex hormones. He just jumps around for no fucking reason. No adolescent withdrew from puberty suppression and all started cross-sex hormone treatment. The first step of actual gender reassignment. These were out of 70 children put on hormone blockers. Okay, what was the point of delaying puberty if they all ended up on cross-sex hormones anyway? A trans female wrote, have the child undergo enough male puberty such that sperm can be banked. After that, full HRT is quickly introduced. This is what I would go for. The puberty blocking route sometimes leads to awkward situations like having to use a breast prosthesis to keep up with the older girls in the class, and also to change it regularly for correct size for the age. Kinda weird and fake and feel horrible to wear, but you have to do it as it's just important to not miss out on teen years. This is fucking retarded. There is decent evidence in favor of who actually benefits from medical transition. There's decent evidence in favor of male to female hormone replacement therapy. Male to female prior to transitioning. Body image scale 43.25. Quality of life scale 62.50. Quality of sexual life scale, 56.25. Interpersonal relationship scale, 50.25. Body image subscale average score was 68.75. Quality of life score was 72.2. Quality of sexual life score was 62.05. The interpersonal relationship scale reported an average score of 75. FTM comparison. Despite being significantly more dysphoric prior to transitioning, they did not improve as much in terms of quality of life. It seems like AFAB individuals were more reluctant to transition, less of them in the study, more dysphoric, but the ones that actually transitioned were very happy with their physical results regarding their bodies. Male to female body image, plus 25.5. Female to male body image, plus 41.4. Male to female quality of life, plus 9.7. Male to female quality of life, 9.7. Female to male quality of life, 5.5. FTM prior to transitioning, body image scale, 21.85. Quality of life scale, 63.25. Quality of sexual life scale. Okay, so men actually had better body image, according to this, before they transitioned than women. The quality of life scale is marginally the same. Females are a little bit higher. Quality of sexual life scale was actually higher for men than women here. And interpersonal relationship is marginally lower for women, but relatively the same. They're both at 50. So FTM after transition. So I find it hard to believe that women who transitioned from male to female had a 40% jump from, like, what was it, 21 to like 63, and then from like, they had a 5% quality of life jump apparently from 63 to 68. And then quality of sexual life went up like 6%. And then the interpersonal relationship went up 30% from 50 to 81. I highly fucking doubt it. Most MTF individuals in the study probably didn't pass. This explains why their social relationship did not improve as much as FTM individuals. It was difficult for them to pass as the opposite sex. Okay, so this whole thing was about how it's easier for men to become feminized and pass as women once they transition than it is for women to become masculinized and pass as men. So you just contradicted yourself here. Long-term outcomes. The study above only lasted a year. We do, however, have the following in the case of people who had transgender surgery. So, 1 year. Woo fucking who. Of course, not everyone has surgery, and individuals who do not have surgery actually receive less treatments. These groups, however, are not equal. People are required to be screened for mental health problems before gender-affirming surgery, and might therefore have particularly high odds of mental health treatment in the perioperative year because of their perhaps involuntary receipt of mental health services. These individuals might be less likely to voluntarily seek treatment for mental health problems with greater time since surgery. Why do some people regret transitioning? Everyone is going to regret. Everyone who transitions is going to regret transitioning. This is fucking stupid. The main reason causing regret is lack of social support. The study is outdated, done in 1998, and it did not study transsexuals who did not opt for SRS. There is a very large, probably majority, who do not want SRS in the first place. We found transsexuals to be more at risk for dropping out of treatment when they were male to female, showed more psychopathology, more GID symptoms in childhood, yet less gender dysphoria at application. So if you were more dysphoric as a child but it's getting better now, you might not be the best candidate for medical transition. It's so worth noting that childhood identity disorder is largely defined as being gender nonconformative, it's not surprising that many of these will later realize medical transition isn't for them. Medical transition isn't for anybody. And that's why children shouldn't be allowed to transition in the first place. You just fucking said it. Most children who are gender nonconformative when they're young are going to realize that they shouldn't medically transition if they were thinking about it. So this is why. Okay? Children should not be allowed to transition. Anybody who wants to transition should not be allowed to do it until they were over the until they're over the age of 18. Like, we aren't even allowed, in a lot of states in America, we're not even allowed to drink until we're 21 years old. Maybe it should be that age. Maybe you have to be 21 years old before you can transition. And you should definitely fund it yourself. None of this taxpayer-funded bullshit. Only non-homosexuals reported some regrets during treatment and 2 during and after SR, which they all related to a lack of acceptance and support from others. Yeah, I'm not going to support people who transition. I won't bother them about it, but I'm not going to be like, congratulations either. This is a general pattern we are seeing in these studies. Social factors are the biggest factor when it comes to regrets and worse outcomes. Overall, adolescents with poor peer relations, poor general family functioning, advanced age, and a female sex assigned at birth showed more behavioral and emotional problems or lower psychological functioning. Thus, the present study confirms the important role the social environment, both peers and family support, play with regard to the mental health outcomes in this group. Consequently, incorporating the family and social environment into transgender healthcare seems crucial in order to adequately tend to the needs of adolescents with GD, gender dysphoria. As we see, the regret rate is dropping despite more people transitioning. Number of sex reassigned individuals at the time period when they did their first application that will later apply for reversal to the original sex. Total number of individuals who did their first... Okay, so... 1960 to 1971, 4 to 15, 27%. Number of regret applications during that time period, 0. 1972 to 1980, 6 to 103, 5.8%. 5. 1981 to 1990, 1 to 76, 1.3%. 3. 1991 to 2000, 3 to 127, 2.4%. 3. 2001 to 2010, 1 to 360. These are all fractions in percent. 0.3%. 4. 1960 to 2010, so I guess is total. 15 over 681, 2.2%, 15. The female to males who applied for reversal were younger at application than those who did not. Median 22 years compared to 27 years for the whole female to male group. Conversely, the male to females who later applied for reversal were older when they applied for sex reassignment than those that did not. Median 35 years versus 32 years for the whole male to female group. Since the group is so small, these data must, however, be interpreted cautiously. What many people ignore is that surgeries is more or less a requirement for FAAP individuals. You will not be taken seriously as a male if you do not have a penis, or if your penis is very small. There's less need for surgery if you are an AMAB and can pass facially without FFS. It is worth noting that surgeries, especially mastectomy, can leave visible scars, which can out people as transgender. Yeah, and a bunch of people are proud to show off their scars, which is fucking stupid. 11 FMs female to males, 28.9%, were satisfied with their breast removal. Why would you want to remove healthy organs? 13.2% were dissatisfied due to the visibility of the scars, and 57.9% were not completely satisfied. 4, female to males were satisfied with their metoidioplasty or phalloplasty, fake penis. 1 FM was dissatisfied because of urinary problems, while 4 were not completely satisfied. The dating market is changing. Old studies are misleading since what was true 10 years ago no longer holds.
That's not true. What was true 10 years ago still is true.
1. Now it's significantly harder to date as a heterosexual male. 2. The transbian dating pool is a lot bigger, making it easier to date as a gynophilic trans female. 3. Dating as an androphilic female is now a lot easier. Because of that, we can expect trans females to have better outcomes when they transition, while gynophilic trans males will have significantly worse outcomes. Suicide attempt rate. There is no proper recent study on the actual rate which trans individuals actually die from suicide. Instead, the self-reported suicide attempt rate is looked at as a suicide attempt isn't always serious and people may over-report. Okay, so if it's not serious and they over-report, then they're probably just doing it for attention. Unsurprisingly, according to that study, trans men are far more likely to attempt suicide than trans females. Unsurprisingly, according to the study, trans men, women, are more likely to attempt suicide than trans females, men. Most detransitioners also seem to be FTM. This is to be expected. Trans individuals often suffer from comorbid mental disorders, and this may be part of the reason why they are more likely to report suicide attempt rates. People diagnosed with mental disorders are far more likely to get harmed by psychiatry, which is likely to result in a higher suicide attempt rate. And yet, you think psychiatry is bullshit, and yet you think it's A-okay for people to transition. Fuck you. The reported suicide attempt rate does not drop to the same as the general population among individuals who get strong parental support. LGBT individuals tend to give shocking and false answers in surveys, skewing the results. Oh, so you mean to say that they lie? Shocker. In addition, the lifetime suicide attempt rate will also include suicide attempts prior to transitioning.
You should also say that studies from the Daily Mail, I read a study from the Daily Mail saying that about half, 55%, but I assume it's higher, say that they can't get an orgasm, or if they have sex, and this is males, if they have sex, it's painful.
Yeah.
And a third, but I assume that's higher too, I assume it's at least 90%, I'm guessing, have problems going to the bathroom.
Yes.
So I believe that a man who has bottom surgery, meaning he has his penis cut off and his balls cut off, or they slice his penis down the middle to make a vagina, I suspect that a lot of these stupid motherfuckers have to pee in a baggie after the surgery.
This guy says that for most male to female, sex is actually better, and they have full body orgasms. I
don't believe that.
That's what he says. But yeah. This is my twin brother Josh who was speaking just now. He just came out and started talking. Okay. Look at these stupid comics at the end. These stupid memes. No, you're not a real woman. Haha, who would want to be? I'm better than a real woman. No, you're mentally ill. You think you're a woman and want to be one. Haha, nope, I just want to look like a girl. Guys like it. I know I'm a boy on the inside, lol. No, neo vaginas are just gashes. Cutting your dick off is mentally ill. Haha, I know, like most, I don't want one. Men like my feminine penis. Feminine penis. No, there are 2 genders, not 500. I'm an attack helicopter. Haha, I choose girl, so I don't care if there's 2 genders. I choose one of those 2. No, 42%, do you hear me? 42% suicide. Haha, no, that study says 42% attempt suicide but not die from it. Besides, other newer studies say it's more like 1 to 2% higher death than normies. No, well, everyone hates you. Look at this ugly tranny pic I found on Google. Haha, that's a crossdresser. Besides, trans porn has a huge section on most porn sites because men like it. No, I am grossed out by trans porn. No, look at all those trans hate posts.
I don't even like lesbian porn.
Who makes those if guys like trans so much? They're hating on it to convince themselves they don't love it. Some people are just jealous. Ah, fucking stupid. Okay, so that was the Transmaxxing Manifesto, and this is a steaming pile of fucking shit.
Are you finally done reading that?
I'm finally done reading it. Fuck you, assholes.
Okay, Leslie's story. Although Leslie was born...
How many views have you gotten?
A couple.
Has anyone commented?
Okay, so I just finished part 4 of the Transmaxxing Manifesto. I'm finally done with that steaming pile of fucking bullshit. 45 pages long, and it took me like a week to read through it just because, man, it was so fucking long for some reason.
45 pages?
Yes, and it took me a week to read through it. Like, some of the stories in there, like, were fucking disgusting, and the guy who wrote it, like, man, he just can't write very well at all. Some of the things he said just make no sense, and he contradicts himself all the fucking time. He shoots down his own arguments multiple times and just repeats himself over and over and over again. So, fuck the Transmaxxers. Fuck you lying douchebags.